Look here. When I tell you that I'm not ready for the show tonight. But man, I ain't even ready for this game. I'm telling you, it's my heart is pounding. I'm about to go get my medication. Anyway, it's on, folks. Let's get it. Let's go.
Introducing the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. We gon' ride out. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White rap for the beat, though. Hey. Welcome back to the home of original sports perspective. From our couch to yours, this is your Couch Rider Raven saying thanks for coming through. For all you loyal folks who have been there for the longest, I appreciate it. We're going to keep rocking. But please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. We here, folks. We here. Divisional weekend. We handle business versus the Steelers. I know y'all want to talk about it for a minute, but make sure we take care of that business and let's see who's in the room first. I know y'all wanted to celebrate with me because I don't think I did a show since the new year. So, first of all, Happy New Year to each and every one of y'all loyal Couch Rider fans. And for those of you who are new to the flock or new to the Couch Rider team, please go ahead and pop in, say what's up. Just leave a comment there. Let me know how I'm doing and what you want to see in the show. If you want to see something different, let me know. And we can do that. All right, first person in the room is Delicious. Saying, what's up, Couch Rider, Cam, and crew? It's been a minute. It has been a minute. And it's my bad. I've been busy, man. I've been enjoying the holidays. I've been getting fat. I've been working on my double chin life. I'm sorry. I had to go and work on those things. And of course, we're one of those people that do that New Year's resolution and try to get our lives together as far as the losing the weight thing. We'll see how that continues to go. I'm like on a 10-day workout streak right now, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Yes, there were mistakes made around New Year's Day. Might have been some cake and a couple of 100 Mountain Dews or something like along those lines. Yes, I get it, but keep working. I don't really have a motivational thought today except for keep working and fight for things that you believe in. You believe in your marriage. Fight for it. Don't just give up at the first second. That other person is in that fight with you, and y'all can fight together for what you believe in. If you believe in goals for your job, there's going to be somebody that's competitive. Use that competition to drive you to your goals. Don't give up on it. I guess that's the motivational thought. Don't give up on something just right then and there. Work towards that thing that you really want to achieve or that thing that you truly want to keep. You want to keep your marriage. You want to keep your job. You want to be good at your job. It's going to take a grind. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take effort daily. Just because you did it one good time, just because you got one good pump in at the gym, don't mean it's going to happen all the time unless you put the effort in. All right, here we go. Lisa says, hey, Jermaine, message for Josh Allen. Don't you dare mess with our defense. Yeah, I think he is well aware of what he should and shouldn't do against this defense. And the question is can he execute? Can he perform? Can he come out there and see what's popping and find ways to exploit this defense? Kenny D's here still saying go Steelers. Yes, go Steelers straight to bed, to the couch, to wherever you need to go. Of course, Kenny, you can come here. This is a safe spot for you because this is the Couch Rider Report. So welcome to the couch, literally, because, your Steelers at home. And we did what we needed to do. We took care of business. Our guys went off. We ran like crazy all over the Steelers. And I know that we shouldn't be bragging that big because the Steelers lost 4 games before getting into this mess. But they really had a tough stretch towards the end. But it was a team that was just ready to implode anyway, and it's just good that they went home and we continue on. Everybody act like that we don't do this every year. Every year Lamar's healthy. But the majority of the time, we're going to the divisional round. We know that. People don't want to give us credit for those, times when we had the first round bye. I feel like we should get those wins. If we had the first round bye, those should be wins on Lamar's record. So Lamar should be really 5-what? Probably 5-5. But was it 5-4? I think it's 5-4. Yeah. So Lamar should deserve those wins. I know it's petty. I know it's little bitty things, but it's just like people keep talking about Lamar's playoff record, and he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. But I do believe we should get those dubs. At least it's telling him to get lost, or excuse me, you're lost. Get over it. Let's see. It says Lisa, you notice my icon, LOL. Oh, that's right. He's joined the flock. Kenny's part of the flock now. More than likely, was that part of the bet? I think there was a bet last week. It says, I came to give respect. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate the love, my boy. And he says, I am happy for Lamar and King Henry. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm having some trouble right now. I think my old age is getting to me. Just having trouble seeing, so we're going to put those things on today. Let's see here. All right, so today we're going to talk about a couple of things. And like I said, we got people in the room. Brooke is here. You saw the title. The title was, 3 ways the Ravens can exploit the Bills, and get the W. Exploit the Bills. How can we get there? How can we come home with the W today? Is the question I have for you today. And of course, y'all want to put something in the comments? Sure. Let's get it. Let's go. Kennedy is saying congrats for us getting through the round. Let's go. We trying to get even further. We not over. It's not over yet. And I think the first thing we should discuss is, of course, let me go ahead and type that up. There was an issue today, and I think Eric DaCosta, we need to go ahead and have a intervention because this guy, he loves his compensatory picks. It is just insane when it comes to compensatory picks. I just don't understand his obsession with it. Are we doing good things with these picks? Or are we actually, or is it, I know he's looking at it like lottery tickets, but this guy, Deontay Johnson is back. And I'll be honest, when I first saw that headline, I was like, Baltimore claimed Deontay Johnson off waivers. I'm like, and I immediately took to YouTube, and maybe one of you saw it or whatever, but I had to delete it after because it was just an overreaction before I read the fine print, and I just blew all the way up. I was pissed. I was hot. I didn't understand exactly what was going on. And I'm saying here, like, man, of all people, I'm like, after he had 13 incidents with the Steelers, after he had about 4 incidents with the Panthers, comes here, has a couple of incidents with us, and then goes to Houston, and even at a W while they smoking cigars, this dude sitting here going off in the locker room about he ain't get fed. And then he gets cut from there, and then we pick him back up again. I'm sitting here like, oh, my gosh. I'm like, Eric, I know you want that compensatory pick, but why are we bringing this prisoner back to us when we're not going to play and we're not going to use him? And then I see the truth behind the matter, that we actually don't even get access to this guy until after the Super Bowl. So he's really not on the roster until after the Super Bowl. So we don't really have to worry about Deontay. He ain't got to come in. He ain't got to go to the building, so he can't put his code in to get in. This man cannot come into the castle and be a poison for this team. I do wonder that if the Ravens happen to go to the Super Bowl, do we have to give this guy a ring if we win? That is a rising question. Maybe we'll ask Engraving Vids. I'm sorry, I'm trying to plug something in right quick because we almost had a juice here. So I'm wondering, like, do we have to give up a Super Bowl ring to this guy if we happen to win, being that he has been claimed off of waivers? Let's see. All right, so we're going into the comments. Got to pay some bills here. Y'all is very free. Y'all up in the comments. I'm loving it. People saying what's up to each other. Brooker's not speaking English. Says respect to falling through on the bet. Yes, because Kenny has changed his logo to the Ravens logo. It is a beautiful thing down in this corner over here going on. All right, so then we have Brooks Hamill because he's not allowed to play anyways. Probably won't even see the locker room. Thank goodness, yes. Are we lazy? Are we crazy getting Deontay Johnson back? That's what I was saying. I was like, man, they lost their mind. I was like, this dude need an intervention. I know he loves his comp picks, but this is getting a little bit out there. So it does tie into comp picks. He will get a comp pick once Deontay Johnson signs with another team next year. But we're wondering, like, hey, is that even going to happen? Because we've seen this guy's attitude, with Houston, with us, with the Panthers, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's just not a team player. He's about himself. And don't get me wrong, there's been guys in the past, but they've had higher caliber resumes and they've had higher star power altogether who've been frustrated even when we were in, or when teams were in championship games and winning. Anquan Bolden, for instance. Anquan was mad just before that team went to the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cardinals, and they lost. He was still mad before that game even started because of the NFC Championship, and he was frustrated because he didn't get fed. He didn't get the targets that he wanted. But we benefited from that. All right, so here we go. Let's keep moving. Alicia says, smart move by EDC. I agree. And Lisa says, Deontay Johnson is nothing but drama. Absolutely, 100% correct. We are with you on that. Let's see. But as far as Deontay Johnson goes, we know that this is a guy, he has the ability to produce. He's just, as far as the Vicky Mendoza scale, hotness to crazy factor, he is just a little bit too crazy and not hot enough to be able to do all the things that he is doing right now. Now, if he was crazy hot as, say, Antonio Brown, I'm pretty sure he probably wouldn't be in the league at all. But at least the hotness factor will be a little bit better. And that's why, AB got a ring with the Bucks, is because his hot crazy factor was enough to put him on a team because they knew his talent level was through the roof. Deontay's not so much. I'm freezing. Is it cold in here? Brooke, hang on. Let me see if I can go ahead and fix this connection real quick. Give me just all right, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Sorry, I had to move some things around. Get a little closer back to this back wall here. Get a little closer to Lamar over here. Okay. So let's hear about it. What you guys got to say about this matchup here. Matthew C, what's going on? Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack that bell if you with us, man. All right. My only thing is the Bills are going to be probably tougher than before. 4 players not in that game on week 4, both starting linebackers and starting cornerback turn. So then Amari wasn't even a part of the team. So you're right. You're right. There are some factors into that because the 2 starting linebackers, which one of them we're familiar with because he's also on a highlight that Lamar continues to live throughout history with, juking the mess out of Milano. And then there's the linebacker Bernard. So neither one of those linebackers were on the field. And then they had nickel cornerback Terrence Johnson out on week 4 when we completely blew the doors off of the Buffalo Bills. But I'm going to be honest with you. People make excuses all the time. Pat Queen was over there hugging our quarterback, even though he had the flu after he just got completely lit up for 199 yards by Derrick Henry. People got excuses. Whoever's on the field is going to be on the field. We're going to be ready one way or another. hopefully they're smart enough, for them, for their sake, they're smart enough to actually stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry as far as this read option and who they're going to follow. Because, of course, one follows, and then one's going to fill that position. In the words of Acho, is what they're saying. I think the smartest teams I've seen against the read option was probably the Tennessee Titans the year we went to the divisional round and lost. And that was because they did it was such a smart concept. They'd have both linebackers actually seeking after Lamar no matter what. And then you'd have the defensive end crashing down the line on the running back no matter what. So it was basically doubling up on Lamar. But I don't think you can get away with that if Baltimore is finding a way to use the tight end to eliminate the defensive end and then having Derrick Henry run through that hole. And then, of course, if two linebackers are out of the play because they're facing Lamar, that creates a big time mismatch. And one of the other problems with that is there's this guy named Todd Monken. He takes advantage of people who come in and they do this one thing that it drives me nuts. If you know the team is a running team and you know that you're about to be lit up on the ground, why would you run with two high safeties? This is what the Bills do. They run with two high safeties most of the year, and I imagine they're going to stick around with the nickel on the field because they want to make sure that Johnson gets those snaps. I'm talking about Taron Johnson. They want to make sure that he gets those snaps because, I mean, all the way up until the final week of the season, this dude was playing the majority of the snaps. If he's playing the majority of snaps, they have the nickel on the field, and we're facing off against a team that's doing this, we're just going to simply take advantage of this and run it right at that nickel. And Johnson's going to have either a great tackling day or he is going to be stiff armed, like pretty much like everybody was stiff arming last week. Like likely, pretty much gave the stiff arm from hell. I mean, honestly, you go take a look at the tape. It was just insane how like Isaiah Likely stiff armed this dude into next week. This guy put him on the plane and sent him home already mid game with that stiff arm. It was insane. So that is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about today. So two high safeties. So um, they stopped a few teams with this two high safety. There were some teams that really didn't get above 31 yards rushing, but I think it was because it was a high scoring game in a few of those contests. And so some of the top runners, like let's say the Seahawks, or for instance, like when their top rusher gets like 16 yards against the Bills, that's pretty bad. Like the Bills were really holding it down with that defense on the run game. But the thing was, the Seahawks really weren't trying. You could see the attempts weren't high in that game. And I don't know if it was just this situation. They decided to go with a different game plan against the Bills. But you want to run on them, you can. You just got to stick with it. Oh, also, I need some feedback. Am I still freezing? Bro, can you let me know? All right. Kenny D, he's gone. He says, take care, Flock. Good luck with the Bills. I think the Ravens will win 31-17. We are looking at a still freezing situation. I'm not sure why. Okay, at least near freezing. I'm showing my connections are low. I'm going to try one more thing. Give me about 30, 40 seconds. I'm still on. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helped a little bit. I had to do some network management. Anyway, Kenny said goodnight. Matt C says Shakira got hurt first quarter early, and someone else I'm forgetting. Who are you forgetting? Got me curious now. And then Brooks says, "Thanks, Kenny." Oh, for looking at his commitment and being a good sport. There's a lot of good people out there who were good sports in this whole situation. Brookie saying I'm still freezing. He's trying to ignore the fact that I'm still freezing. This is hopefully that will fix part of the issue with the stuff that I just did. I don't feel like going through any more things and knocking everybody else offline. All right. So Matt C says, well, the Bills usually let themselves get gashed on purpose to allow stopping of the passing game because they believe the pass game leads to more points quicker. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So let's see what the Bills have done recently against the pass. Let's say their top two receivers. I did the last 4 weeks, and I did not include week 18 because I was like, week 18 really doesn't matter because it's people are resting starters. It's just it's not a really good statistic. So I kind of built this last second. I'll show you here in a second here. Let me get this ugly Deontay Johnson words off the screen. Okay. So these are the yards that were surrendered against the last four opponents, excluding Week 18. So you're looking at 304 yards versus the Lions, 160 yards versus the Pats, 123 versus the Jets, and 129 yards versus the Broncos. So it looks like they will give up. They'll give up some targets. They'll give up a few yards as far as to the wide receivers, their defensive backs will. They gave up a lot versus the Lions, but that was a full-on shootout. And I can't believe they actually surrendered that many yards versus the Lions. And it was a full-on show right there. I mean, it was a lot of touchdowns. I got the stats here. So we're looking at the question is, should we throw it? Well, if we decide to throw it, then of course they gave up 2 touchdowns with all those yards. Well, not 2 touchdowns. They gave up a total of 10 touchdowns. I'm way off. 10 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks, but 5 of them were in one game, and then you had 2-2 and then 1 versus Denver. Let me take that off the screen. Like I said, that was a last minute build. I'm sitting there still trying to learn how to build those things. But I'll keep more of those type of graphics going as we go. Massey says, but I think the Bills will run mirror trap concept more like they did on Denver, run more dime packages. Well, if they run dime packages against Baltimore, they're asking for bruising because of the fact that pretty much Henry is going to bruise them up the middle. All right, Buffalo has only beaten 3 teams who are good. KC is not good this year. I don't care. I think against the what were playoff bound teams, the Bills are like 2-5 or 2-3. And then against like Baltimore against playoff teams, I think we were 7-3. So it lets you know the competition level for the Ravens was a lot higher than the Buffalo Bills because Buffalo they weren't facing comp. 6 of their wins this year came against the 3 most garbage teams, or 3 of the most garbage teams in the league right now, and that's the Dolphins, that's the Jets, and that is the Patriots. Let's call it what it is. Those are franchises right now that are having significant turnover. The Jets are a dumpster fire, and I told y'all we didn't need Devontae Adams here because obviously he didn't help that franchise. I don't know how exactly he would have helped ours. Maybe he would have helped a little bit more than that. But of course, they got Aaron over there. It's just at the back end of his career, but he's making partial management decisions that are hurting that organization. They're in a dumpster fire. Tua was hurt most of the season, or I'd say a majority of the games of the season. And in the games he was in, they weren't just coming out blowing the doors off people. They weren't a magnificent team. And then, of course, the Patriots were so bad they decided to go back to their old linebacker to have him as a coach after they fired the last coach. So, sorry, Mayo. But it's just that's easy. 6 easy W's right there. Even though they were supposed to be easy W's, a couple of them they squeaked by 3 points. All right, so we got to play turnover-free football, in which you definitely need to make sure we're not turning over the ball like we did last time in the divisional playoffs. Because if we're turning that ball over, then of course it's just going to be bad. I think Baltimore had the chance to win that divisional game, even with the pick six. It's just with, if you remember correctly, Patrick McCarry was he was the center, and for some reason he was snapping the ball way over Lamar's head, and it caused one of them Lamar was able to recover from and even escape from the sack from, and I think he threw the ball away. But then the next one, that is where it caused the concussion. That should have been the comeback drive because he had driven the ball all the way down the field before the pick six. He had the opportunity to take over and win that game. And I believe he could have done it had he stayed in the game. But it is what it is. You go back and look at the route concepts from Greg Roman. They weren't impressive, but it was still getting the ball down the field. Lamar was working the ball. He was matriculating the ball down the field. So Baltimore had a good chance to win that game. All right. Massey says, I can't say that KC isn't good because they are previous Super Bowl champs. You're right. They are a 2-time Super Bowl, or 3-time Super Bowl winning team. And they're a solid team. They came into the playoffs looking pretty good. Now they got rested starters. They got Hollywood Brown back. They got Worthy, who is getting the majority of the snaps on that team. This is a dangerous playoff contender. We cannot ignore that. But if we cannot overlook the Buffalo Bills, we got to stick to them right now. Lisa says LJ passed for over 4,000 yards this season and deserves to be the MVP. I'm with you. I really don't care about the MVP right now. If he gets it, cool. AP has already came out with the first team All-Pro. So, the same voters are the same ones for MVP. So hopefully, the guy still gets it. That'd be cool to see MV3 shirts and all that. I have to give me an MV3 shirt, no doubt. But I say never doubt. So never doubt Lamar. Brooks says, I can. This year they aren't good. They've been winning off luck. Okay, that's Kansas City. They've been winning off luck. They have been winning off, but like I said, they somehow turned up towards the end of the year. They're getting better. They started to look like the Chiefs of old at the end of this year. But hopefully you're right. Hopefully they are still falling off and still trying to, hopefully they're on fumes. But I doubt that they are on fumes right now based off of what I was looking at the last couple of games. They looked impressive. Of course, the Donkeys win. That was the Donkeys win. Like I said, I don't count Week 18. Lisa saying score early and often. I'm with you. And then Brooks says they're going to give the MVP to Allen. Whatever. So Matt says, well, that, and you still need to worry about Josh Allen. Yes, there's a lot of hate for that dude. But he's baller right now. When he turns it on, he really turns it on. So the thing is I'm not downgrading Josh Allen. I think everybody else on Twitter and Facebook, they have been arguing about who's done it more or who has less, or feel bad for me, pity party type of deal. When you go look at Josh Allen's stats, not necessarily Josh Allen, but the Buffalo Bills stats as a whole, you're not seeing significant playmakers at one spot. Or you're not now seeing a significant playmaker. In fact, when I went to go look at who are the deep shots or the targets for this guy, because this is one of the biggest deep shot artists in the league, he is number one when it comes to the big throws. I was like, okay, well, who's he throwing to? Because we know who his dogs are. His dogs are Shakir and Cook. Or Shakir goes up with, I want to say, 76 receptions for 821 yards and 4 touchdowns. So this is the guy he goes to work the ball down the field. So we're looking at slot receiver. Hopefully Marlowe is locking him down and stopping some of that. So we're looking at a guy who put up 821 yards. That's probably his number one target because of 76 targets, what I'm looking at. And then you got Cook, who they keep ignoring whenever they talk MVP talk. Kind of keep saying, oh, he has nobody. And I'm looking at Shakir, and I'm looking at Cook. Cook also has 16 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns. I think he leads all running backs in touchdowns scored. This ain't no slouch. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's got 258 yards receiving. So they're saying he ain't got nobody, but he got plenty right there. And that is another target that we're going to have to stop. I don't know if y'all recognize in the past when we had other defensive coordinators, but when it came to wheel routes and it came to out routes from running backs, we had no answer. I guess the Jacksonville Jaguars back in the day, we had no answer when it came to those particular type of quarterbacks who like to do that small dump off and see the yards after the catch happen. Cook is a shifty, twitchy little back who can just completely be a problem for the Baltimore Ravens, just as he was for the Kansas City Chiefs last year. In December, my son and I went to the game, and we just seen a running back take over the game. I'm like, oh my gosh! I was like, James Cook is a problem, and it's because nobody was respecting his ability to catch the ball. He is an excellent pass catcher, and so is Ty Johnson, as we saw against them in the Denver game. He has, I mean, they got some hands. All these guys got hands, and that's the thing about Josh. It wasn't just one guy getting it done for him catching the ball. He had multiple targets. So the other targets that he had was Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman had 29 targets as a rookie, 29 receptions as a rookie, 556 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He was the guy who would catch the deep ball down the field. The 50-50 balls, that's your guy. 19.2 yards per catch, excuse me. So he would go up and get it. And Josh would just allow him to go up and get it and take advantage of those deep shot opportunities. Next in line, as far as yards per catch, is Ty Johnson, the running back. This guy's got 18 receptions, 284 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's a lot. I want to do that. Let me go check the numbers on that. Maybe I got it wrong or something. That is a lot for a little. Go check that again. So we're talking about receiving and overall. Ty Johnson, 18 receptions, 284 yards, and he was getting 15.8 yards a catch. And he scores 3 TDs on his own. Like I said, the ball was being spread around to multiple people, but as far as the main targets guy, the main receptions guy, that was Khalil Shakir. And so, it's just something that the Ravens need to take a deeper look at and make sure that wheel routes are being respected and make sure that Marlowe is locking down and traveling with Shakir like a Southwest carry-on or something. Then there's Amari Cooper, a guy who comes in, only plays about 8 games for him, but he has 20 receptions, 297 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but he's got 14.9 yards per catch. I need to wet my whistle for a second. I'm going to go ahead and reach back here like I normally do. We'll grab this out. Okay. So, of course, with these guys, there's going to be other factors. We got to make sure that Wiggins is on point. Wiggins got to do his thing. He allowed a touchdown for the first time this season. I say second time because I believe he was part of one of the touchdowns against the Bengals. He gave that up. But they don't count it on the stat chart because it's the person closest to the ball, yada, yada, yada. He helped give up that touchdown. But he gave up a touchdown last week as well. But Wiggins, I think, can hold it down. And Delicious is saying we need B. Steve to lock in for 3 games. Please. Please. So the thing is, last week, yes, we saw some big plays get given up. But the Ravens' overall defense did well. So when the defense does well, you have to give Stevens credit as well. Because he's out there. When those sacks happen, that means he was doing decent on coverage. When Russell Wilson was just really frustrated, it's because the coverage was happening and nobody was open. And that means BC was doing his job. So give him his props. I know we sometimes want to drag him when those big plays happen, but he's on the field for a reason. I'm not sure yet. I think he has the organization blackmailed, but that's just me. Because I believe that, Tre'Davious White is the one that should belong out there. But you know what? I ain't the one coaching. And then obviously Harbaugh's got the formula. They don't figure it out, and they're getting W. So in the end, if B. Steve sucks, and we get a W, I'll take it. Matt saying Ty Johnson was a throwaway from the Jets they picked up. Surprisingly, turned out into a weapon. Matt Collins has made big plays, and he's just a special teamer slash wide receiver or five. I don't know if you've seen the build of Matt Collins, but he got like a close to a DK Metcalf type of build as far as this guy's in the gym. He's very physical. And if he tries to go inside on the slant, he is going to use that position in his back, his body, to get in position to make those catches. And he could be a problem. I don't necessarily have his stats of what he was doing on the outside. What if they decided to take advantage of the mismatch as far as size between Wiggins and Hollins? Then that could be a problem. Let's see, Mac Hollins, 31 receptions, 378 yards, and then 5 touchdowns. He's still getting 12.2 yards per catch. And in comparison, I mean, we could talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Like we're looking at deep shots, and like I said, Josh Allen, he's amazing at all these deep shots. With our guys, we got three. Actually, we got four guys. Well, no, yeah, three guys who have over 15 yards per catch. So three guys with 15 yards. So that's Bateman, 16.8. And so he's got 45 receptions for 756 yards and 9 touchdowns. Dog. Big play bait. Love him. There's a reason why I continue to let everybody know and remind everybody we don't need Devontae. Just putting that out there. So then, of course, when it comes to the next in line, because Bateman, I think, is second in line on the list as far as yards per catch. Tylan Wallace is at the top of the list, but he's got less receptions. So he's got 11 for 193, 1 touchdown. And then you have Zay Flowers with 14.3 yards per catch. I don't know if he's going to be available Sunday. Honestly, with this cold out there, Baltimore needs to stick to the ground anyway. I say let Zay rest and give him opportunity to show up against Kansas City. All right, going back. Brooke is saying that people need getting cussed out. So we Lamar's mom to cuss B. Stevens out. Yes, we need to go and put her on the phone and have her do a thing. Then we have tell Cam, what you gonna tell? Oh, you gonna tell Cameroon we don't need Devontae? Tell him. He probably looking at the show right now. Cameroon, we don't need Devontae. We don't need him. And don't come after me. Things happen, and then the undesirable result happens. You start rubbing Devontae in my face. Don't do that. Don't do that. Pause. All right. Trey says, Delicious says Trey White should definitely get more snaps. I agree. Give him a couple more reps and see what he does with them. Can't argue with John Harbaugh's end results. Justin Lewis, what's going on, man? Hey, it's your first time watching the show. Hey, I am glad you're here. Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. Hey, I'll give Justin some love up in the room here because this is his first time here. Good to see him. So just make sure you keep coming back. We're going to do these shows as much as I say every Wednesday, 8:45. It's going to be every Wednesday as long as nothing as far as family commitments and stuff happens. Then I will be here at 8:45. I don't know where Cameron's going to be. He's going to be doing classes or something like that. We'll see what Cameron's schedule looks like and see if we can match up to that. But I think I'm glad you're here, man. And I think we are all glad you're here. And everybody who's in the room, if I got 23 people in the room, can I get 23 likes on the show, please? Lisa, hit him with it. All right, Brooks saying Bate has been balling. Yes, Bate has been balling. Do you know that outside of one game, every game that Bate has scored a touchdown in, I think that we won outside of one game, I believe. Justin says, keep running the ball, no turnovers, less penalties. Now, the penalties are just going to be a thing because we have a guy refereeing right now that is, I guess he is favoring the home team when it comes to penalties. And Baltimore has been averaging about 100 yards in penalties a game. So, we're going to see penalties. We just got to sit there and make it a convincing knockout. This cannot be a fight that goes to the cards and relies on the refs. We saw what happened with the Chiefs last year with tons of calls that should have been made, holding calls, constantly, calls that shouldn't have been called. A minor altercation and a slight headbutt when there was obviously somebody who instigated the situation, so it should have been maybe a double flag, but they always try to get the last person. So, look, we cannot leave it to the cards. It's got to be such a convincing win that the refs have no choice but to say, hey, this one over. We can't even affect this game. Brooks telling you, welcome, Justin. All right, tell Camru, I'm replacing him. He's fired. That's what I mean. We almost at that point. We don't slip the pink slip under the door. I love him, and we need him here. All right, Justin said, I already did. Thank you, Couch Right. Let me know when you do another episode. Yeah, next Wednesday at 8:45. That's when it's going down for sure. Because of course we got to talk about the results of this game that's coming up. LOL, the penalties worry me a lot. It does, and I think there's going to be some times we're going to be frustrated on third down when we see a penalty go through, and hopefully our guys aren't getting handsy on the back end. Pause. But you know what I mean. It's like we need to make sure that they are using good shadowing techniques and being able to play the ball the second they see the white of the guy's eyes. And also with Stevens, making sure that he turns around, makes a play on the ball versus playing through the wide receiver as the ball's in the air. Brooks saying play all 4 quarters. Justin showing love. Okay. So there were some things. So we talked about who were his dogs already. And we talked about how that was Shakir, that was Cook, but he spreads the ball kind of evenly. I'll say not evenly, but he spreads the ball around the field to multiple guys. He's just whoever's out there is going to get it, but we just got to make sure that those things are not there. Those opportunities aren't there, and you got to do that with pressure. This is a guy that he don't go down. That offensive line, they all should be Pro Bowlers. I know that they talked about how Josh Allen only had, I think, 2 Pro Bowlers on the team. There should have been the entire offensive line who only allowed, I want to say, 16 sacks to this guy in the season. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic line that we have to get pressure on. If Denver can get 2 sacks on him, then Baltimore needs to be able to get him down at least twice. So the main priorities right now, as far as stopping the Buffalo Bills offense, is shutting down Cook by stopping the run when we are a very good run stop team, one of the top in the league since week, I want to say 10. And then stopping Shakir. So, of course, Baltimore in the past has been one of those teams that just gives things up over the middle. However, if we have Marlowe traveling with Shakir and locking him down, that should help as far as being able to apply that pressure, because now he's got to go through his second read and his third read. Hopefully, going to the check down and making sure we have somebody on Cook in space, because if Cook gets busy in space, he is scary. It's extremely scary. So those are his 2 dogs, Shakir and Cook. And then there's the question, and I'm going to go ahead and post this on the screen. I want y'all to answer this too. Question is, should we throw the ball? Should we throw the ball? Because, we saw, we're given the stats of what they give up in the air as far as the DBs to the top 2 targets. And I know it's going to be cold. We're talking 18 degrees with a 40% chance of precipitation, which is snow. It's going to be Lamar's first game. Should be really make a focus on throwing the ball. Well, I'm going to give you some more stats here. So when it comes to tight ends, the last 3 games versus the Buffalo Bills, so the top 2 tight ends in week 16, they scored 94 yards and 1 touchdown against the Bills. Week 17, they had 8 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. And then, of course, against the Broncos, they really put clamps on the tight ends there. There was 2 receptions for 4 yards, no touchdown. So it's like, okay, we know that we want to run the ball, but we know we also need to have those balls. We need some of those third downs converted. And the best way to do that is through Andrews or Likely. And if we can get the play action rolling, I believe those guys will be open. Because I don't think that Buffalo is going to stick to this nickel formation and have Taron Johnson continually in the game getting bruised up by Derrick Henry, especially if we pull an extra lineman in the game, is what you saw against the Steelers, I think, with Josh Jones. So if Jones is in the game, I don't think that the Bills are going to have Johnson in the game. And if you roll out on a play action with Jones in the game, he's he's calling himself in as a receiver, declaring himself as a receiver, but we're really looking for Likely, or we're looking for Andrews, and that's going to open some things up downfield as far as those guys go. Of course, we still have Bate, and Sims seemed like he had a couple of good passes the other night too. Miller's out there, Wallace, of course, Aguilar. We have those guys, but it's going to be cold, frozen turf. What do you think? All right. Justin saying yes, we need to we need to pass, but just as not as much as we pound the rock. The formula is there. So the last 5 games, Harbaugh has won, and I think we've rolled. What's it, 5? I want to say it was 5 games where we had over 128 rushing yards, or what Henry had over 130 yards per game in the last 4 games. And so that's just a good stat to think about. Like, hey, if we can get him above 130 yards again, Shay said it. Like, hey, if he gets above 20 touches a game, we're going to get that W. So, of course, we need to stick to the ground and stay with that. So, of course, like I said, the tight ends, Isaiah Likely could be a good key to this game. Getting Bate his touchdown, because it seems like statistics show that him getting Bate his touchdown is going to help us. Getting Isaiah the ball on the play action after Derek has done his business, and then creating those mismatches in space. Like I said, the Bills, when they stand at too high safety look, and they bring one in the box occasionally, they bring one safety down. But if you ain't really committed to the box and you're worried about what's going to get caught on the deep end, Derrick Henry, they can do a delayed, and boom, that's going to create another hole. Let's see. So it looks like the Ravens have had 5 straight games of 28 plus points, and that's due to the rushing attack that we have. All right, Brooks says, I think Henry needs a good amount of carries to win. I think so as well. Justin says, this is decided who will be our next MVP between Allen and Allen and Lamar. It's already been decided. It's already been decided. The votes have already been in, and that's why people went and fought 2 weeks ago. They fought all over every single network as to why Allen should be and why Lamar should be. And Lamar's not looking at that. Like I said, Lamar's got a different goal, and I'm all for it. I mean, y'all seen the stats. Lamar's 28. Joe Flacco was 28. Elvis Gerbach was 28. And all of them, or both of them, got Super Bowls at the age of 28. It's been 12 years since our last Super Bowl. And before that, it was 12 years. So here we are again at this 12th year. It's time for Lamar to wear the number 1. If you know, you know. All right. And then for us, I think the final thing I wanted to focus on, of course, we know the basics. Like, all right, we need to shut down Cook, shut down Shakir, and get pressure on Allen. But finally, I think we do need to stay in 2 safeties, two high safeties. Do exactly what they're doing, going to be doing to us. But the thing is we can run and bruise them because they're using 2 high safeties. But I don't know if they're going to be able to hang in 2 high safeties against us. But we can hang in 2 high safeties against them because of what Cook does on offense for them. He's got speed. He doesn't have the bruising size, and our defensive backs can actually tackle this guy. Guys in open space against the Ravens, well, we saw what happened. I felt bad because Fitzpatrick did so dirty. It was the stiff arm he got. It just looked like a full-on Mike Tyson punch, and he just went down. It was craziness. But with us, like I said, us sticking around in 2 high safeties is going to keep that big-time thrower, that number 1 big-time thrower in the league. We're going to keep him at least trying to work the ball into tight windows. And it's going to be tighter windows because this defense seems like they've gotten a lot better since they made those substitutions at linebacker. I say substitutions, but I mean substitution. I like Simpson, but it's as far as the awareness piece, I think Board seems to have it down a little bit better. I'm glad he's on the field, and he can also thump. He knows how to choose those running lanes to clog things up to make us one of the top run stops in the league. He's a big piece of that. And I know that Roquan, he has a great talent for being able to develop, but I think having board on the field, it just makes all the difference when it comes to stopping the run. All right, Lisa says every 12 years win the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Was it Dilfer or was it Gerbach? I think it was Dilfer. And then we picked up Gerbach, I think, after we ran Dilfer out of town. No, I'm tripping. All right, and then I think there were some other facts I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Their defensive backs, they are meh against the pass. I know I was looking at some PFF ratings. Elam I think he would have one of the higher grades. He's 67 against the pass. And then Rasul Douglas, 5.8.9 was his grade against the pass. Like I said, I like PFF. I like their grades on players because I know they spend over 10 hours per position watching the tape, but I do not like their rankings when they do this thing. I know it don't make sense, but that's just how I feel about it. Is there anything else I wanted to share with you guys? Talked about the priorities. Talked about should we throw because of the fact that they've been giving up uh, more yards. Actually, they give up decent yards on the ground, but nothing crazy. So in the last 4 games, like I said, not counting week 18, they really haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher. So that lets you know like they can get it done in this nickel system. They have trust in it, but it's just not King Henry that they're facing. So against the Lions, they had I think their lead rusher had 8 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. Then you have against the Pats, the lead ball carrier had 12 rushes for 60 yards and a touchdown. And then the Jets, 10 for 45 and 0 touchdowns. And then against Denver, 4 for 43 yards. So 4 carries, 43 yards, 0 touchdowns. Like I said, it's going to be cold turf. So it's like people, I don't know if they're going to be about that tackling life. It's going to be a little cold, I'm hoping that the injuries just kind of, I'm hoping people stay healthy, no doubt. But I'm hoping people just not as in such a mood of, hey, I'm ready to tackle Derrick Henry. I want to have a healthy game, but I want this guy to bruise some folks, no doubt. Yeah, verse 28. Anyway, Justin says, you're right, Brick Baby. But it was Trent Duffy. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Brick. Let's see. And then last things I wanted to go over was, of course, and y'all probably seen this, the Bills have won the last 4 of their 6 games, so they took a couple of L's here along the way. We know about Henry and his ability to just put up the rushing yards. He was 130 yards in the last 4 games is what his average was. And we know that they didn't have their top linebackers in the game and missing the corner when we played them. But also Lamar is running absolutely crazy out there. And he's getting 60-plus yards in 3 straight games. So you know he's about to put this team on his back. Hopefully he got to the massage parlor. He got some heat and some cold therapy for his back, maybe a shot here and there, so that he is ready to go out and ball on Sunday. We need him running. We need him running wild. We need him pulling linebackers towards his direction, opening up holes for Henry. We need a repeat of week 4. That is for sure. Burke says, poor Lamar is going to be freezing. He needs those warmers you stick on your clothes. Also, if you know a seamstress anywhere in the Orchard Park area, please send them to the stadium. Lamar needs those pants hemmed. He keeps pulling them up mid-play because his pants keep falling off. It's because he lost all that weight. That boy probably a buck. He probably 205 right now. And we need to make sure, well, of course, he's going to be cold because he ain't got no meat on his bone. But make sure them pants don't fall off. So I'm being a diehard Ravens fan since day one. So I've been a Ravens fan since 1999. So I don't know how long you've been a Ravens fan, or how long you've been alive, but since day one, or not since day one. I've been in since. I gotta be honest. I was a Cowboys fan. I just, my parents, they brought me up in Louisiana, and you was in Shreveport, Louisiana. You basically were a Cowboys fan, or you were hiding and putting paper bags over your head because you were a Saints fan. So I didn't know no better. So 99, that's when I kind of came to my senses and recognized this team knows defense. And that's when I was really introduced to defense, and that's how I became a Raven. So because I ended up falling in love with defense more than offense. And, of course, 3 of my favorite players, they just were tanking so bad. I didn't say tanking, but their careers were just on the back end. Emmitt Smith was averaging like 2.3 yards a carry. Troy Aikman was going through concussion protocol every other week, going for the record for concussions. And then Michael Irvin gets hurt on a dumb play against the Eagles, and it just crushed my heart because that was one of my favorite players all time until Lamar Jackson comes along. Of course, I love Ed Reed too, me and that guy behind here, Ray Lewis. But it was like just crushing to see the dynasty just die when that's the only way I really got close to football. My stepfather was through the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm saved. I am with the Ravens, and I'm not going anywhere ever, ever, ever because I love this team. I love the flock. I love it. Enjoying, conversing with y'all. I love the crazy ones too, the crazy fans who ain't got no common sense and they put up some of the dumbest memes and everything else. But it's just a good family here, and I appreciate every one of y'all. With that said, let's just read a few comments and then we'll close the show out. Yeah, so you was a Cowboys fan. Okay, see, I think it was just the 90s, right? The 90s you had the Cowboys, and that was, Cowboys, Packers, Steelers. I think those were the teams you rooted for. I mean, and the 49ers. Yeah, Cowboys, Packers, Steelers, 49ers, and then occasionally you had those Falcons fans over there. But, and of course you didn't have like NFL ticket back in the day. So you didn't have a choice but to watch what was on. And of course, if you in Shreveport, Louisiana, you watching them boys. And that was all you had to watch. Now I got the choice. All right, Bruce says, I was forced to be a Cowboys fan as a child. See, I think we all was fed this Cowboy stuff. And I think I'll share something with you today. In just a second. So, as a child, like I said, I didn't know no better. All right, here we go. I'll put this all up just real close up on here so y'all can see this. So, if you look there, now in the Tommy Hilfiger, that's my sister. In the middle, that's my dad. But right there is me in a Cowboys shirt. This was long, long, long time ago. I was probably 12 back then, maybe 13. But yeah, I was a Cowboys fan, man. Glad I got out of it. I've been saved and bathed in the Bay. Boy, they put Old Bay on my head. It was a good baptism. I love crab cake. I swear I do. We can. What's good? He said, let's go 1-0 this week, no matter how it happens. Yes, as long as we get it done, whether it's on the ground, whether it's crazy enough in the air in this cold, thin air. We want those dubs. We want Justin Tucker. I know it's going to be tough out there in Orchard Park because those winds, you never know how they're going to go. But I think as far as I predicted, or as far as I was able to look on the weather, and I ain't predicting weather at all. Don't put me on that. So as far as the weather goes, I think it was like 8 miles per hour wind. So that's not bad. Not bad. But of course, it could change. But they're talking about single digits, some of the forecasters. But from what I can see, we're looking at 18 degrees. Justin says Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. Yeah, they were solid. Now, the problem with that is because of the nepotism of Jerry Jones, seeing that Deion is available, if they make that connection, I can tell you right now what is going to happen. You're going to see Deion and Jerry act like they're best friends. It's going to be a beautiful connection. It's going to be 3 weeks of glory as they go undefeated for the first 3 weeks of the season. Week 4, they're going to take an L. And you're like, it's okay. Week 5, they're going to get blown the doors off by somebody, and you're going to see a full-on fist fight between a senior citizen and a guy with 9 toes. It's going to be a full-on brawl between the two of them. And then Jerry's going to fire. It's just going to be crazy. Like, I'm up for it. I'm going to have my popcorn ready for this Cowboys mess. Because it's going to be hilarious watching this thing go down. Because Jerry's not going to be able to control Deion. And Deion is probably one walking the door and tell him, hey, I'm going to need you to stop doing press conferences because that's my thing. So, oh, boy. Anyway, Brooks says, I had a Cowboys beret and even was a Cowboys cheerleader for Halloween. That is pretty scary. So I had worn a sweatshirt from Dallas when I was in school. Okay. Yeah, and I was trying to get that starter jacket back in the day. It was like you had that old school Cowboy starter jacket. You was somebody out there. Oh, well. All right, so we have covered everything we need to cover as far as the Bills. The only thing we need to do is stay warm and hopefully our guys stay warm, stay ready. And I don't know if Zay's going to be out there, but if he isn't, we're going to be just fine. We're going to do our thing. I want to appreciate y'all coming through. I want to say I love every single one of y'all for constantly having me fall off the couch for you, because that's just what we do here. Y'all show that love, and we fall off the couch for each of you. Like I said, if you want to donate, you can do it either through the super chats. You can do it on the, how is it, Cameron? He wants the Cash App because he wants his cash. I'm going to put that back on there. I think they've moved things around in StreamYard to where I can't even do that anymore. Okay, here. Oh, yes. So if you wanted to donate to anything to my son and his future dreams as far as drones or candy or whatever the heck else he wants to do, cool, no problem. Or if you want to actually buy a shirt, of course, there's in the YouTube comments. There should be a section down there. You scroll a bit down past the video, you should be able to see. You want to buy a water bottle, sticker, or anything like that, cool. That's any way you can support the channel. Or you can do that other thing and just subscribe. I appreciate it. And we love it. We love this show. We'll continue to keep rocking with it. And I hope to see y'all here next week as we have a victory party and eat a W. Yeah. With that said, it's 2 claps. Fade to black.
Introducing the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Couch Rider. Raven, we gon' ride out. Raven, Couch Rider. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White of rap for the beat, though.